As a grandmother, she's spending a couple of days a week being with her grandchildren, and she's doing all the things that grandmothers do, getting down on the floor with them, playing, making lunch, changing diapers, all those things. But what in the world is that grandmother really doing? What is she doing there with those 4 grandchildren of hers? She's not teaching them anything. She's not having them memorize important ideas. She's not getting them to learn important facts about life. So what in the world is she doing? Just hanging out with them and playing with them. What in the world is that grandmother doing? Well, she's doing one of the most important things she could possibly ever do, or that anybody could ever do. She's being a living invitation to their children for their hearts to feel drawn towards her goodness, the goodness of a person living a good life, the goodness of a person living a Christian faith. She wants their hearts to feel the invitation to be that kind of person. She's doing what cannot be taught, can only be caught. She's giving to them character. She is a living invitation to become a person of character. To be a person who brings out, a good person whose heart is full of goodness. Brings out of that store of goodness, good things. She's doing one of the most important things you could possibly do. She's doing something for children so that those children's hearts will feel moved way before their minds understand. So their hearts say, that's what I want. I want to be a person like that. And so that is, in our gospel, Jesus is talking about that. Jesus is talking about our hearts being moved by who was it in our lives that did that? Was it reading about Jesus himself and his example? Was it people in history, heroes in history that we read about, and our hearts said yes to it? Was it a grandmother or a grandfather? Was it our parents? Was it a sister? Was it a priest? Was it a teacher? Who was it? Somebody in our lives lived a life in front of us of a kind of character that something inside of us said, I will embrace that. My heart will embrace that. I want to be like that kind of person. St. Ignatius, the founder of the Jesuits, they used to say about him that he could talk to a person for 10 minutes and he would know more about them than they would know about themselves. Now, of course, he wouldn't know more facts about them, about their lives. But what St. Ignatius would know after a couple of minutes with you, or with anybody, with me, he would know our souls. He would know the soul of a person better than a lot of people knew their own souls. And the way he did it, or one of the ways he did it, is he had a way of sizing up a person's soul right away. And the way he would do it is after 10 minutes talking to you, he would know whether when we're talking about this person's heart, is it going from good to better? Or is it going from bad to worse? Is this person going from good to better? Or is this person going from bad to worse? And going from good to better is not, it's not a rocket shot straight to perfection. We spiral upwards. We spiral from good to better. We take a couple of steps forwards, we take one step back. We have a success, we have a failure. But when we have failures, we learn for it and we take another step in the right direction. And we spiral upward. Our life spirals upward from good to better. And when we go from bad to worse, we get into some bad situation and we get into something we're not proud of, but we don't learn from it. We get caught in that circle that goes around and around, the same mistake over and over and over again, and we start to spiral downwards. And St. Ignatius was very good at spending 10 minutes with a person that he knew whether they were spiraling up or whether they were spiraling down. So he knows our soul better than they would. So Jesus is also that kind of person. He obviously could instantly, he could meet, and especially Jesus did this with religious people. He could meet a religious person and instantly he would know, is this a person who on the outside looks religious, or is this a person whose heart is all in it, whose heart has embraced being a good person? Jesus would be able to read the hearts of people. And so what Jesus knew was the difference between fruitfulness and accomplishments. Now, we live in a society that's all focused on accomplishments, outward accomplishments. Where did you go to school? What family are you in? What degree did you have? What did you study in school? What are your accomplishments? How much money are you making? How many raises have you had? How many awards have you won? All those accomplishments. But what Jesus, of course, is looking for is that doesn't necessarily mean fruitfulness. All the accomplishments in the world don't necessarily mean fruitfulness. Because fruitfulness is being the kind of person who brings joy into people's lives, who brings love into situations, who can come into a situation of chaos and can bring order, the order of love and intelligence, the kind of person who could take up another person's burden because they can't carry it anymore and carry it for them for a few miles and not send them a bill. It's the kind of person who makes the world better. It's the kind of person that has their own struggles as they try to spiral upwards. But the very struggle makes everything around them more human and more humane as they go from good to better in that struggle to spiral upwards. And so Jesus knows the difference between accomplishments and fruitfulness. And we have to have accomplishments. We all need our accomplishments. But what Jesus is talking about is, okay, get your accomplishments. Those are important. But does fruitfulness flow from the accomplishments? Or do we just have a wall full of trophies and certificates and accomplishments? But as soon as we die, they all die with us. Because fruitfulness doesn't die when we die. Fruitfulness lives on in the hearts of the people that we've touched with love and kindness and goodness. And so let's come to this altar this morning, taking Jesus quite seriously. He was particularly, and this is frightening. This should cause any priest to tremble in their boots. He was particularly clued in to when religious people had all the right look and they had gotten the accomplishment of being a priest and being ordained, and they had all their trophies and their accomplishments. But their heart, well, what about their heart? Had their heart ever seen someone and said, I want to embrace being like that because that's what I want to spiral up towards? That's what Jesus wanted to know about religious people instantly. So let us come to this altar. Let's come with all our accomplishments. Accomplishments are not bad things. We must have them, especially young people. They must get some of your accomplishments in life. But let's also ask God to give us the grace that from those accomplishments will flow the fruitfulness of love, of joy, of making other people's lives and the world better.